own changed. They changed drastically. No man wanted to be affiliated with her anymore. Because firstly, you could be accused of being her boyfriend or being one of her lovers. And there are a lot of jealous women who somehow know how to get information. People talk. And the second thing was that man stood away from her because they wanted to preserve a special reputation, or that they didn't want to be perceived as someone who hangs out with whores. No, they wanted to rather be perceived as men who can have real women, because they did not consider Lucy as a real woman, as a whore who probably gets paid or asks for money for sexual services and sexual favors. So man didn't want to be with her. And it was hard for Lucy. It was disturbing, because back to that news, she always thought as the FBI as her beacon of hope, despite the fact that she had to deal with this mortal fear of being alone, having to face night all alone and all this darkness, these creatures in the darkness which seems to sneak around, despite the fact she always fought as the FBI and her work for the FBI as a force which helps her to order her life, as a force which helps her to get through life, to give her life a meaning. But then after everyone started to look at her as a whore, she saw something broke inside her, and she more and more felt no joy in her work anymore. And she thinks right now under the shower she thinks right now of the bureau and whom she will meet today. How many men will stare at her, undress her in their minds, their eyes looking from her face to her shoes and back up, and probably imagine or think whether she shaves her pussy. She heard about these conversations. She heard about men talking about that Lucy only looks like a good girl, but she is probably a nasty whore in bed. And she heard about the bet that some assumed that she would have some sort of whore tattoo, and how this whore tattoo may look like. Maybe she even has a tattoo of a dick on her ass, telling every man where to get in, because there are rumors Lucy only has sex with hillbillies. The thought alone makes you uncomfortable. But Lucy did not give up her job at the FBI. She needs that job to give her meaning in her life. She has finished showering. She dries her hair fastly. She thinks about the stranger, Tim, who must have realized by now that she's up, that she's awake, and that she even locked the door of the bathroom course, she doesn't want to meet him. And Lucy thinks about it again. A stranger is in her home, and she has put her gun into a safe space, into a safe. Her gun and her badge, everything that has any meaning to her, is locked away. She thinks about the fact how she can get to her gun and her badge without Tim, the stranger, seeing her, so that he might not know or doesn't get aware of the fact that he had sex with an FBI agent, that an FBI agent picked him up, because this was new for for a man. This was new for Tim. Lucy remembers Tim's face when she some sort of said these things, and Lucy knows what to say to people, fancy them, flatter them, especially men who crave for attention, or who feel uncomfortable around women. She knows what to say to them, and Tim was swooned. Tim was charmed, and he came with her. But Lucy saw that this was a whole new experience for him. Never before did a woman pick up a man. And normally you should be very cautious if a woman picks you up, but Tim was not. He was in a daze, and he came with Lucy into her home. Lucy still would never go in to the home of someone whom she picked up. This was too risky and too scary to be in a ground or in a place you don't feel familiar with, especially a person you don't know. And now Lucy thinks how to get rid of this man. She gets out of the bathroom cautiously. She looks around. Tim is not there. Again, she feels uncomfortable that she has to sneak around in her own home, in her safe place. She rushes to her dresser. She dresses very fast. She has a secret safe behind the dresser. It is hidden. It is not visible for everyone. This is where she hides her gun and her badge. It is not safe indeed. Normally an FBI agent, so they say, sleeps with his gun under his pillow, not because he's scared, or not because he should be scared, but rather some sort of that there is a lot of people whom he incarcerated and who might be coming after him. But for Lucy, the thought alone is scary, that a stranger could get hold of her gun, see her badge, her name. This would be too dangerous, and it could happen, because once you close your eyes, you are in the hand of this stranger. And if this is a pervert or whatever villain, he could do with her whatever she wants. So it is safe for Lucy to hide her gun. She immediately opens the safe, looks around, still a precaution, hoping Tim is still in the kitchen. She gets out a gun and her badge. She hides her gun and her badge behind her back. She goes in the kitchen. Tim is shrieked. He looks at a different woman, a woman in a suit who stares at him sternly. He says hi in a very uncomfortable way because he thought that they would have breakfast together, that they would get to know each other. Tim seems to be the man who does not really believe in one-night stands, who thinks in terms of relationships. But this woman which stands in front of her now is way more different, way more hostile. She's not soothing anymore, and she doesn't find these fine words for him anymore. She says to him in a placid voice, I need to go to work, and it is better for you to leave. It was nice. This is all. She's very cautious. She doesn't want to get his hopes up, because you have to be very careful. You mustn't give them any notion of whether you are not sure or whether you should or he should come around any other time. You have to make them think that this is over, that this was not just a one-night stand and now things are over. He asks her, do you have a boyfriend? Lucy does not respond to the question. This is too messy. Because if she would say yes, then he would assume that she's a whore. You have to be careful. She says to him, you have to go now, Tim. He seems to be flattered that he knows her name, but he thinks to himself, well, he doesn't know her name. He gets up from the breakfast table, walks in to the bedroom, gets his clothes. He's mutely dressing himself. He looks at her. Lucy's face is still stern. She still stares at him in a very uncomfortable way. Lucy knows that this staring makes people uncomfortable, as if you stare at someone's mistakes, at someone's handicaps and wrongs, and people immediately assume that you have seen their mistakes, and you some sort of point with your eyes at it, and you can't look away. Tim has dressed. He tries to say something. It was good, nice, or whatever, but Lucy cuts him off. I need to go to work now. Will I see you again? Goodbye, Tim. And she walks him out of her home. He is thoughtful and devastated. Lucy is relieved.